Okay, we are going to be doing Unit 1, Lesson 4, Basic Exponents. So the first thing we need to remember is exponents, at their most basic, represent repeated multiplication. The way they combine or don't combine is dictated by this simple truth. So you just need to know we are going to be talking about positive exponents right now, integers. So whole numbers, okay? Now, exercise 1 just says the following 4 steps are given to find the product of the monomials negative 2x to the 5th times 4x squared. We're going to skip over this. I'm not as concerned about you learning about knowing the steps, what property is used. Just so you are aware, this is associative because we are grouping things together. The next one is commutative because you're rearranging, and then finally we have associative again. So this is just showing you how you could rearrange things in different steps to make it work. I'm going to show you a little bit of a simpler way to do that, so I'm not as concerned about this, but I do want you to notice one thing. I want us to look at negative 2x to the 5th times 4x squared, and how we got the answer negative 8x to the 7th. So we have our coefficients. So you're going to have negative 2 times 4, which gives us negative 8. So that's how we got the coefficient. Now look at my x's. I have x to the 5th, so that means it's 5x's. And then I have x squared, so that's 2 more. That's a total of 7 x's. And that's how we got our final exponent of the variable is 7. Moving on, it's important to remember that it's very easy to forget that basic property used in simplifying the product of two monomials, because we tend to pick up the pattern of multiplying the numerical coefficients and then adding the powers without thinking of the commutative and associative properties. So I'm going to show you how to break it down so you can better see it, and then go from kind of bring it back together so it makes a little bit more sense, okay? So I'm just going to regroup things together. So that's using the associative property. We're regrouping. So first off, I have 5x squared times 3x to the 6th. So I'm going to regroup. I'm going to put my coefficients together. So I'm going to have 5 times 3. And x squared times x to the 6th. 5 times 3 is 15. I have a total of 8 x's. And if you need to go ahead and write this out, 2 x's and then 6 x's. How many x's do we have? I have a total of 8. You can do that. Okay. So I want you for B, go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to set it up just like I did A. Put your coefficients together and your variables together. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so now that you paused the video, let's check to see if you have it right. My coefficient of negative 2 times negative 6 times x to the 4th. Okay. Negative 2 times negative 6 is 12. X times x to the 4th is x to the 5th. Remember, here I have the exponent. There's nothing there. It's just x. Right here, we just have x. That means it's an imaginary one. It's x to the first power, so that's why we added to 5. On C, I'm not going to break these up. We will break the next two up, but on C, you have a fraction. So first I have 3 over 2 times 6, and then x to the 4th times x to the 10th. 3 over 2 times 6 is going to be 18. 18 over 2 times x to the 4th times x to the 10th is x to the 14th. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9x to the 14th. Now on D, it's a little bit different. I have 4x cubed squared. So that means I'm going to have 2 of the 4x cubes. So I'm going to have 4x cubed times 4x cubed. Then I can break it up into 4 times 4 times x cubed times x cubed. Oh, excuse me, I put 3 times x cubed. 4 times 4 is 16. X cubed times x cubed is x to the 6th. Now, if you can see this, you can also notice that I just took that and I multiplied it to the exponents. So I had 4 squared times x 3 times 2, which gave me 16x to the 6th. Now, we want to remember that monomials or terms can have more than one variable, just as long as they are all combined using multiplication and division only. Multiplying monomials that contain more than one variable just still involves application of exponent laws and repeated use of association and commutative properties. So just know that you are doing the exact same thing, it's just more than one step. So we're going to look at A to start. We're going to find each of the following products with the given which involve monomials of multiple variables. First, we're just going to break it up, okay? 4x cubed y squared times 5x y to the 5th. So I'm going to look here. I'm going to break this up here. Use my associative property. So I have 4 times 5 times x cubed times x. I'm just bringing like terms together. Y squared times y to the 5th. Or I should say variables, because they're not technically like terms. So 4 times 5 is 20. And then x to the 3rd times x. I add my exponent, so x to the 4th. Y squared times y to the 5th is y to the 7th. And there's my answer. Now, if you're able to just look at it and solve it, and you don't need to divide it into groupings, that's perfectly fine. And let's look at this B. Negative 2x to the 7th y cubed times negative 4x squared y to the 6th. Same thing, I have negative 2 times negative 4 times x to the 7th times x squared times y cubed times y to the 6th. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. X to the 7th times x squared is x to the 9th. And y cubed times y to the 6th is y to the 9th. Now, when you look at C, it's fractions, but you're doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to have 1/2 times 5 over 2 times x squared times y to the 5th. So 1/2 times 5/2 is 5 over 2. Oh, excuse me. 5 over 4, because I'm multiplying. X times x squared is x cubed. Y times y to the 5th is y to the 6th. Moving on to exercise 4. One of the key skills we need is factoring expressions. Remember, factoring is just reverse multiplication. That's all that is. Factoring is reverse multiplication. It's when we write a term or expression as an equivalent product. Factoring out common factors is extremely important, and we're going to be using that throughout this course. So exercise 4 says fill in the missing blank in each of the following equations involving a product such that the equation is then an identity. So that means they're equal to each other. So I'm going to look here. I have 6x to the 5th. So what can I take out of that? Well, I know that I'm taking 2x squared. So that means what is 6 divided by 2? It gives me 3. Then I need to know how many more x's do I need to get x to the 5th. So essentially I'm subtracting my exponents. I get x cubed. Same thing goes for B. 12x to the 8th equals 4x cubed. What's 12 divided by 4? What do I need? A 3. X to the 8th divided by x cubed, where I subtract my exponents and get x to the 5th. I'm just factoring out. So if I were to multiply these two together, I'd have 6x to the 5th. That's the same as that. That's what I'm looking for here. I have 20x squared y to the 4th equals negative 2xy cubed. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2. Negative 2 times 10 gives me 20. X times x gives me x squared, and y times y cubed gives me y to the 4th. Looking at this one, we're not going to do every single problem together, but the final skill is distributive property, multiplication, division. So here we're just looking at, and you're distributing. So yes, the first one, the first two, I'm going to break it up, and then I'm going to show you simply it's just distributing. So I have A is 2x times 5x plus 3. So essentially is 2x times 5x times 2x times 3. And that's really a plus right there. 2x times 5x is 10x squared plus 2x times 3 is 6x. That's all you're doing. Same thing here. I'm going to have 5x cubed times quantity 2x squared minus 3x plus 6. So I have 5x cubed times 2x squared plus 5x cubed times negative 3x plus, I'm going to put it right underneath it, I'm going to right here, and then I'll erase the 5x cubed times 6. So I have 10x to the 5th plus negative 15x to the 4th plus 30x cubed. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and try C by yourself. So pause the video, try C, and then bring it back and we will do it together. Okay, now that you have tried C, we're just distributing this through. So I have negative 7x to the 4th, negative 7 times negative 2x, negative 7x squared times negative 2x is plus 14x to the 3rd minus 21x squared. You need to do D and E on your own. And then you can get back and see if you got the correct answer. So go ahead and pause it and do them on. Now that you have done those problems, you can check your answers. If this is what you got, excellent. If not, you need to reevaluate and we can talk tomorrow. The final thing we need to do is to build our way up to factoring in later units. So we're just looking here, you're doing the exact same thing back as you did in exercise 4. We're finding our missing proportion or portion. So here I have 8x squared minus 12x. It's telling me to take out a 4x. So what do I have left after I take that 4x out? So if I have 4x, I need a 2x, and I have 12x, and I took a 4x, so it's a minus 3. Same thing for B. I have 7x to the 4th minus 21x cubed minus 28x squared equals 7x squared. So I take 7x squared out of each one, would leave me with x squared. Negative 21 minus 7 is negative 3. X3 divided by x squared is x. Negative 28 divided by 7 is negative 4. X squared divided by x squared is just 1. Go ahead and pause it and work out C and D. Here are your answers for C and D. I want you to notice that on D, you have x minus 2. And that's what's taken out. So what do you have left? After you take that out, you have 4x squared negative 9. And so you put that together. That is unit 2, lesson 4, or excuse me, unit 1, lesson 4, basic exponent.